Some people step into places they were never meant to be. Some keep walking long after they should have stopped. This is Caesar's Journal. Two stories from the DMV, a quiet ER after midnight, a dark highway with only one traveler.
I've worked the night shift in the ER at St. Mary's for years. People imagine it's peaceful after midnight, but it's not. The air feels heavy, and every sound, the hiss of the oxygen line, the faint buzz of the fluorescent lights, feels louder than it should. At 3:15 a.m., the automatic doors slid open. No ambulance call, no footsteps echoing down the hall. Then a man appeared at the desk. His clothes looked waterlogged, his hair matted to his forehead, his hands shaking as if he'd been out in the cold for hours. "I think I'm dead," he said in a steady voice. Not panicked, not delirious, just matter of fact. He claimed he'd been in a crash by the bridge, said it was bad enough that he didn't think he'd survived. We brought him into triage, no broken bones, no obvious trauma, just a faint diagonal bruise across his chest, like from a seatbelt. His vitals were perfect. I stepped out to start his paperwork and realized I hadn't even gotten his ID. When I went back, the bed was empty, perfectly made, untouched. Security told me no one had entered the building all night. We pulled the footage. The doors opened at 3:15, but the lobby remained empty. 2 hours later, a state trooper came in asking if we'd seen a man matching his description. They'd just pulled a body from a wreck off the Thomas Johnson Bridge. The coroner said he'd been dead at least 2 hours before I saw him.
I used to drive home from D.C. late every night, down Route 301. In daylight, it's nothing special. A long road, dotted with gas stations and strip malls breaking up stretches of quiet woods. But after dark, it changes. The headlights only reach so far, and the trees on either side become tall, black walls, broken only by the occasional glint of a distant reflector. One night last January, the air had that sharp it was cold. It was close to midnight when I saw him, a man walking along the shoulder. He wore a black suit and carried a leather briefcase, like he'd just stepped out of a downtown office, but he had no coat, no gloves, nothing to guard against the cold. I slowed as I passed, half expecting him to wave for help. He didn't. His pace was steady, almost mechanical, head tilted just enough that I couldn't see his face. Something in my gut told me to keep driving. When I glanced in the rear view, the shoulder behind me was empty. Not, I lost sight of him empty, just gone. A mile later, my headlights caught him again. Same suit, same briefcase, same measured steps. No footprints in the frost along the edge of the road. I gripped the wheel tighter and drove past without looking back. About 5 miles down, just before the turn toward Waldorf, my high beams lit him up again. He was standing in the middle of my lane, facing me. I swerved so hard the tires screamed. My heart pounded in my ears, but when I looked in the mirror, nothing. The road was as empty as it had been all night. The next day, I told a coworker. She barely let me finish before saying her father had seen him too, decades ago, in the same stretch of road. Around here, they call him the Commuter. But if you see him more than 3 times in one night, you don't make it home.
This was Caesar's Journal. 2 accounts from southern Maryland. A man who checked into the ER hours after death. A traveler who walks a road you can't escape. If you want more stories like these, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.